My name is Jim Siegel, and I'm a biologist at the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service in the National Conservation Training Center, which is in Shepherdstown, West Virginia. We work for your National Wildlife Department, the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service. We are the agency that protects wild plants, wild animals, and wild fish in the entire United States. We operate in all 50 states, including, and we also work in some developing countries to help them manage endangered wildlife. We are the main agency that runs the National Wildlife Refuge System. And I wanted to show you a little bit about some of the refuges in the United States. Can you find a National Wildlife Refuge on that map? In West Virginia? Yeah. Can you see it? Yeah. Yeah, what does that say?
Canaan Valley.
Canaan Valley. When I say that I'm a biologist, what does a biologist do? What does it do?
Study animals.
He studies? Very good. A wildlife biologist studies wild animals. There are many different kinds of biologists. If I was a microbiologist studying bacteria, I'm studying little things. If I'm a paleontologist, what does a paleontologist study?
Dig for dinosaur bones and stuff.
They study ancient animals that are extinct and they've fossilized.
A marine biologist.
A marine biologist studies aquatic animals in the ocean. Perfect. So there's many different kinds of biologists, but today you're going to learn a little bit about being an endangered species biologist. When I use the word endangered, what does that word mean? What is it?
In danger of going extinct as a species.
Perfect. That is an animal that is threatened with extinction. What are one thing that any animal or plant or fish needs to survive? What?
Water.
Everybody needs water. What else?
Shelter.
Shelter. Everybody needs shelter. What else?
Food.
Food. What else do we need? There's one other thing. Yeah.
Sunlight.
Sunlight. Plants need sunlight. What do we need?
Oxygen.
Oxygen. Everybody needs oxygen. There's one last thing that often people don't think about. Is just sheer space. So an elephant needs hundreds of acres, and maybe a beetle only needs a very small area. There's a good phrase that you can use to help you remember the word habitat. It is food, water, shelter, space. Habitat is a wonderful place. Food, water, shelter, space. Habitat is a wonderful place. So all these wildlife refuges protect the habitat for both common and some endangered species of animals. Which animals are common? Which animals are rare? And which animals are extinct? Read them out loud.
Green blue heron and smallmouth bass.
Okay, great blue heron. Okay, where do you think that would go on our list? All right, it's pretty rare. Good. And what about a smallmouth bass? Okay, that's fine. Smallmouth bass is one of the fish that people go fishing for in the Potomac. What do you got?
A bald eagle and a painted turtle.
Okay, where do you think those go? This one is a passenger pigeon. This, I think, is a picture of Martha. She died in the St. Louis Zoo, I think in 1904. She was the last of her kind. Most wildlife biologists work with these common animals. And endangered species biologists have to think about the rare species and whether they are threatened with extinction. What is this? It's not a lizard. It looks like a lizard.
Salamander.
You're right. It is a salamander. Does anybody know what that is?
Cat. Some kind
Look like a cat?
Some sort of bat.
Some sort of bat is right. A lot of the bats are threatened by a disease called white nose syndrome. So a lot of the bats are not doing very well. Bats are very important. What does a bat eat? Yeah.
It eats our little bugs.
Yes, eats a lot of little insects and bugs. What I'd like to do now is we're going to take some time and we're going to learn about some of the tasks of being an endangered species biologist. And we're going to pretend that you're a biologist studying the gray bat, the flying squirrel, the West Virginia flying squirrel, or the Cheat Mountain salamander. And I'd like to introduce Chelsea. And she's going to come up and teach you about one of the kinds of things that a biologist does in their job.
What was that National Wildlife Refuge that was in West Virginia? Can you guys remember the name of it? Canaan? Yep, Canaan Valley National Wildlife Refuge. So, for today, we are not at For Love of Children Outdoor Education Center. We are on Canaan National Wildlife Refuge, okay? And in West Virginia, we already talked about 3 endangered species we have to protect, right? So for today's purposes, we're all tired of being biologists. We're done, we're retired, and we're gonna hand it over to you guys. So you guys now are officially endangered species biologists. Congratulations. We're gonna pretend Canaan National Wildlife Refuge is 100 acres. And 100 acres is like as far as you can see, and beyond it goes forever and ever and ever. So how many acres did I say Canaan was?
100.
100 acres. And we've already established there's no way I'm going to count every single salamander for 100 acres. But could I maybe handle a small section of that 100 acres? That I can handle. And we're going to pretend that this small area is 1 acre. I could estimate. It's called a population estimate. And it would be a good educated guess based on how many salamanders I counted in this small 1 acre. I can estimate how many there would be in 100 acres of the same habitat. Okay? All right. So that small area, how many acres did we say that small area was? 1 acre, right? And that small area, that outline, that is called a quadrat. So do you guys see this rope you're standing on here? You see that square? That is your quadrat. That is your sample area that you're going to count. And we said that's 1 acre. So Cheat Mountain salamanders, you guys are going to be looking for big walnuts. They're about this size. Okay, those are your Cheat Mountain salamanders. Flying squirrels, you guys are looking for blue poker chips. And gray bats, you guys are looking for the red poker chips. Endangered species biologists, are you guys ready? Begin.
And you can pick them up.
You can pick them up and bring them back. Yeah, let's talk about numbers. All right, so gray bats. How many gray bats did we find? 8. 8? Oh! Flying squirrels, how many did we find?
9.
9? As an endangered species biologist, we have to be very accurate. So it doesn't matter if it's a millimeter over that quadrat. We cannot count it because then that throws off our entire population estimate for the rest of the 100 acres.
Oops.
So gray bats, how many did we really find?
7.
7, okay, good. And flying squirrels? You guys had it the toughest because while these guys had bright blue and red poker chips, you guys had the walnuts, right? And they were
Blending in with the background.
they blended in very well. Yep, they're camouflage. And that just goes to show a lot of species that we find blend right into their environments, or they're so small, biologists can't always count them all. So that's another bias we need to be aware of too. What's 4 divided by 1?
4.
4 times 100?
400.
400. So my guess, my population estimate would be that there would be about 400 bog turtles. So each group, there's a clipboard on the table. I want you guys using the numbers that you guys found, calculate how many salamanders, bats, and squirrels that you guys would find. So come on over here. Yep, the area of the quadrat is. Yep, perfect. So what were our numbers, guys? Flying squirrels, what do we get?
5.
What was it?
5.
5 out of 100 acres?
Oh, no, sorry. 500.
500, good. So congratulations, endangered species biologists. You conducted a population estimate survey. Good job. How do you guys feel about being endangered species biologists?
Fun.
Fun? It is a fun job. You get to be outside a lot too if you enjoy that. I want you guys to go ahead and take a slip of paper, and we're going to talk about some of the things that we need to do in order to become an endangered species biologist. Go ahead. You want to read the first one? Do your best in all your classes, absolutely. A lot of the subjects are important.
Read books about endangered species.
Yep, so if you're interested in a particular type of endangered species, it could be in other countries as well. Always learn about new species.
Talk to a real biologist.
We've got 4 of us right here. You can talk to us anytime you want. We're just in Shepherdstown.
Spend time outside with your family.
Spend time outside with your family. Just being outside and enjoying nature is just as important.
Join a club in your community related, like 4 through H Boy and Girl Scouts.
How many of you guys are in 4-H or Boy Scouts or Girl Scouts? Some of you guys? Yep, Boy Scouts. A lot of biologists, if you ask them, have been through either Boy Scouts or Girl Scouts or something like 4-H. So that's another idea to get involved in. What was the last one said?
Join a nature or science club at your school.
Join a nature or science club. Now, do you guys have a science club or nature club?
No, I don't think so.
So one of the things might be good is to talk to one of your teachers and try to start a club at your school. Might be a cool thing to do.